This is the sixth essential skill you need to build your career. We are going to focus on the section entitled Streamlining Efficiency and Productivity. This section consists of 4 lessons. The first is Efficiency 01, Time is of the Essence, Tips for Time Management. EF02, Project or Process, Streamlining Project Management. EF03, Don't Waste My Time, Decisive Meeting Management. And EF04, Step-by-Step Quality Improvement. This module is called Project or Process, Streamlining Project Management to Stay on Time and on Budget. This module will provide a framework for managing your projects. We'll talk about focusing on the goals of the project, strategizing on the project and defining your resources, setting realistic timelines and following through on the plan, and analyzing the success of the project and communicating the results. Before we get started on the framework, let's talk about some of the tools that are available to you for managing your project. There's all sorts of software that's available: Microsoft Project, Basecamp, Smartsheet, Monday, and there's also many communication tools you could use, such as Google Docs or Dropbox, SharePoint or your intranet, or Slack. You could also use a simple whiteboard or a chalkboard to track your progress on the project. It doesn't necessarily matter what software or which communication tools you use. You just need to make sure that everyone on the team is committed to using those tools. So before you begin the project, agree on which tools you will use and set the team communication ground rules. A systematic approach is helpful to follow when initiating a project. First of all, you need to determine the objectives of the project and the philosophy behind doing the project in the first place. Then you'll need to develop a strategy and determine what resources you have available. Get approval for the project and have a solid commitment prior to beginning the project. Then we can undertake the tactics associated with the project. Finally, we want to look at the project and debrief and provide an analysis of what went well and what improvements could have been made. Those are the 4 phases of our framework we will follow: philosophy, strategy, tactics, and analysis. The philosophy is the first step in the project management framework. In this phase, we're going to look at the big picture and ensure that we have commitment and buy-in at all levels of the organization. Before beginning any project, you want to begin with the end in mind. There's no sense doing a project unless there's a tangible outcome. So, for example, buying flowers to put on everyone's desks might be nice and might help employee morale, but that's going to be hard to justify. Your project should have a specific end in mind, such as save time, save money, increase productivity, increase revenue, streamline operations, improve safety, increase employee morale, improve quality, improve communication, improve response time to customers, or help comply with the law. Those are all very good reasons to initiate a project. Once you decide that the project's a go, make sure that you go through this decision-making criteria. Ask, is the idea feasible? Do you have the necessary resources? Are the costs acceptable? Will the majority support the decision? Is the team determined? And has sufficient analysis been conducted in order to ensure the success of the project? These are the typical problems that arise in any project, and your project will be better served if you start out with the big picture with a clear sense of what the objective of the project is. Otherwise, your project might succumb to the common problems associated with projects. You might run out of funds, or people may lose interest. Yes, priorities change, but you have to make sure that at the onset, you have the support and the enthusiasm for getting the project off the ground. Going back to our project management framework, our next step is strategy. Under strategy, we want to make sure that we're setting smarter goals and also managing resources of time, people, and money, so we can develop a plan for moving forward with our project. When you're working with any team or any project, you want to make sure that you have specific goals and objectives, and you want your goals to be smarter. That is, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound, economical, and within your realm of control. So before you begin a project, clarify your goals and objectives clearly. Everyone should know what you are setting out to accomplish. And get commitment for those goals and objectives. Everyone on the team needs to commit to the project, as does management and any other component of the business that will be affected or involved in the outcome. Make certain all parties have agreed on the scope of the project and are in concurrence about the need for the project. Oftentimes, people start a project by launching into the tactics, but really it's better to start with the strategy and then get tactical. The first step in strategy is to develop a plan that will break down the work into manageable pieces. Developing a strategy simply involves dividing the overall goal into a series of steps or smaller objectives that build upon one another in order to meet the overall goal or objective. The strategy also involves plotting a timeline for what has to be accomplished by when and by whom. It can be overwhelming to review an entire project from starting point to desired end result. Therefore, breaking the project into smaller, manageable mini-projects can be an effective way to get the overall project accomplished, but also helps keep you and the team on track. Since projects have a finite lifespan, it is important to be realistic about how much time projects will take. It is equally important to use planning tools to track the progress of the project. Let's look at some of the terminology to help guide your project. A work breakdown structure looks at the big picture and categorizes each aspect of the project. You can use a process flow chart or an org chart or other charting tool. Many project management software provides this as a tool to keep the team on track. You'll probably want to establish phases for your projects by dividing the project up into sub-projects, or they may be called subunits or sub-items. And establish milestones. A milestone is a key event which verifies that a specific phase has been accomplished. You'll also want to determine the sequence. The sequence of tasks must be planned out, since many tasks are contingent upon the completion of other tasks. PERT charts can be helpful. Gantt charts also work, so use tools that you'll find appropriate and that your team can use to keep everyone on track. Now it's time to examine the resources you have available in terms of time, people, and money. To determine timelines and deadlines, ask yourself these questions. What must be achieved? How will the task be measured? When must the job be finished? When are reports due? And what are the contingency plans if something does not go according to plan? Time is a resource that may or may not be fixed. If the project has a drop-dead deadline of 2 weeks from now, you will have to focus complete attention on this short-term need. There may not be time constraints, or the time constraints may be self-imposed, but it's good to have some compelling timeline to your project. Otherwise, it could easily get off track, and projects can fizzle. But you don't want to set the timeline unreasonably tight so that you promise a deliverable that you can't deliver on time. This hurts your reputation and your credibility. It's better to underpromise and over-deliver. Determine the time resources that you have and estimate time requirements liberally. Watch the schedule closely and keep everyone apprised of tasks that get the project off track. In terms of your people resources, you want to make sure you're getting commitment and support by setting your smarter goals, defining roles and responsibilities, delegating appropriately, asking for support and commitment, and tracking and monitoring progress to hold people accountable. People are resources that can help or hurt your project. Managing the people side of a project is essential. The problem is these people may not report to you, so you may not have much authority with them. But you'll have to use your good skills in motivating, leading, delegating, communicating, monitoring, and providing feedback. Another resource you'll have to manage is money, and ensure costs are accurate and approved before you begin. Develop a budget with room for hidden costs, so you may want to pad the budget to ensure that you don't go over budget. Again, going over budget can impact your credibility and your reputation. Also, watch the costs, monitor budget versus actual regularly, and ensure that any costs overrun are justified. Track your accrued expenses to ensure that you're managing your resources appropriately. And also look at overhead allocation. If you notice that you're going over budget, communicate the problem, and you may have to reassess your objectives. reallocate resources, renegotiate the budget, accept a substitution, or eliminate an item altogether. Now let's move from the strategy to the actual tactics to complete your project. Tactics, keeping on track. If you're clear about your goals and objectives and the individual phases and milestones and tasks to be completed, hopefully everyone will be on the same page in terms of what their responsibilities are. But keeping a project on schedule can be tricky. Schedules change, and unanticipated snags will require you to juggle schedules and deadlines. Here are some tips that you can use to control the project's progress. Don't wait for a problem to occur. Anticipate problems and develop contingency plans. Develop a method of checking up with team members to make certain that tasks are being addressed on time. Don't pester people, but do call and email and ask if there is anything you can do to ensure they meet the deadline. A friendly reminder before it is late will be more effective than a nagging call after the deadline. And follow through. Don't just follow up. There's a difference between following up and following through. Assume that one reminder is not enough. Call or email to confirm that action was taken. And be a good role model and uphold your personal commitments and help others to follow through with their responsibilities. Set realistic timelines and manage expectations. And when scheduling tasks, pad the schedule. Give yourself a couple extra days to ensure that all of the tasks were completed at a high quality standard. Leave some time at the end of each phase to debrief and wrap up any final items. And as projects slip, readjust the schedule if you can. Look for ways that you can fast-track tasks by bringing in additional resources or taking a shortcut if appropriate. And report regularly and anticipate problems. If you follow these steps, your project should stay on track. Action plan. Develop a simple progress report. The standard WWW or what, who, and when format works really well. Don't waste time creating lengthy reports, and don't expect that anyone will read them line by line. But develop a method of updating and informing team members and management, and use that consistently so everyone knows what to expect and what actions still need to be taken to complete the project. This could be a simple Google Doc or might be part of your project management software. You could also use a simple whiteboard for your action items. List the tasks to be accomplished, who's responsible, and a specific due date. Giving a specific due date and a name ensures that people are accountable for fulfilling their obligations. Going back to our project management framework, the final step is analysis. This is where we wrap up the project and make sure that everything met deadlines and was on budget. In the analysis phase, we want to be sure to debrief on the project. We want to ask questions such as, are we happy with the outcome? Did we get the results we wanted? What methods or processes really worked for everyone? And what could we do better next time? Also, what issues did we not anticipate from this exercise? Do we need to update any of our existing processes? What other improvements and solutions do we need to create to be more efficient and effective? And what would we do differently next time? Facilitating a group discussion to debrief on the project will result in lessons learned and a sense of pride in completing a project. In addition to the debriefing, as part of the analysis of the project, you may want to create some documentation. Write an executive summary with key points, lessons learned. Keep it simple and use charts and graphs. Don't expect that a senior manager would read a 3-page report. This documentation will help others learn from your results and will help promote your project. Maintain a copy in your portfolio for your evaluation and for your own career development. As a final step in the analysis phase, wrap up your project and celebrate the end of the project. Recognize and reward team contributions and accomplishments. Celebrate and publicize the success of the team. And you may need to refocus or reband the team as projects are completed. In summary, we talked about a systematic approach to managing your projects. Focus on the outcomes of the projects, set smarter goals and objectives, and manage your resources effectively. Track and monitor progress and anticipate any issues. and then wrap up the project and promote the results with all stakeholders. Follow the framework of philosophy, strategy, tactics, and analysis, and your project will be successful. Thank you. This has been a presentation of Eye to Eye Workplace. This module was on project management. Congratulations! You just completed one of more than 30 modules from Eye to Eye Workplace. These modules are provided on YouTube for your benefit to preview the extensive training content of our management training modules. After 4 modules, you can take a multiple-choice online 10-question test based on the content of 4 of the videos on YouTube. There are tests available for team leadership, interviewing and hiring, talent management, performance management, communication, efficiency, and customer service. You'll earn a certificate of completion. For only $9.99, you can document your management success. Go to eyetoeyeworkplace.com/store, pay $9.99 for each module, and you'll get a link to the certification test. For more high-impact, low-cost training, follow Eye to Eye Workplace on LinkedIn and YouTube. Or visit our website at www.eyetoeyeworkplace.com. Thank you.